Hey everyone, Clips here again with another ArcDev Kit tutorial. Um, Today we're going to be showing you a very important step. I probably should have mentioned it in the last video, but the video was already getting pretty long, so I didn't want to make the video like an hour. But this is a very important step that you still have to do before cooking your mod. If you do not do this, it may not look as you want it to look in game, whatever you're making. So I'm going to show you here today what you need to do. So what we're going to be doing is making sure that all the materials in your mod for your structure that you're making, they all load into the game like they're supposed to be. Instead of, I'll show you. Let's go into our table folder here and we're going to open up the static mesh, the light blue strip file. You notice here how the table's silver like we made it last time. What we're going to do is we're going to make sure it actually is silver in game rather than it looking like this. I don't know if you've ever tried to put something in game from a mod or whatever and it comes out looking like this, or it's just all default texture, gray and all that. That's because the materials that you're trying to use for your mod, they're here in the dev kit, but they're not in the game, or they're trying to read from a different path, or for whatever reason this material that you have over here is not reading correctly. So the only way to make sure that it is reading correctly is to have it in any other materials that you're using for your mod, for any other objects. They're all inside of your mod folder, so when someone downloads your mod, they're getting all the materials with it and it's not trying to read from somewhere else that's not in your mod. If you do it this way, every time you make a mod and you load it up, it's always gonna look how you want it to look. You won't have to have it, taken down and re-edit it and all that type of stuff. You'll be perfectly fine. I've ran into this issue many times when making mods, just trying to use materials that are already in game, and me thinking, hey, it's already in game, so it should read it fine. No, and it will not always read it fine. So it's just best to always have all the materials you need or textures you're going to use already inside of your mod for when you cook it, and have them all reading from your mod. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. So first we're going to go back and we're going to make this silver. There we go. I don't know why it's reading down there, but make it back silver. As you can see, when we put our mouse over the name of it, you see that it's reading from the Primal Earth folder. If it's not reading from our mod folder, it's wrong. So what we need to do first here is we're going to click on, actually first before we do anything, just to keep things organized. First let me save that, make sure. We are going to right click here inside of our table folder, and we're going to make a folder called materials, just to keep things organized. You don't have to do it this way, but I recommend it so things aren't all scattered all over the place. Now we have that made. Now we're going to click on the little magnifying glass, or what is that? Yeah, magnifying glass. So it'll take us to this material where it's located. You can see that it's located here. We're going to take it, we're going to drag it to our folder for our mod. Where is it? So test mod table materials. That's where we're going to put it. Copy here. Alrighty. First thing we want to do before we do anything is we want to make this read from the mod folder. So right now it's still reading from Primal Earth, even though we copied that over. We're going to take this and we're going to drag it right over here and replace this one with that one. Now you see that it's reading from the test mod table folder. So that's perfect. Now we're going to save this. And we can actually close this now. As you can see, this is still not saved because basically even though we moved it to the our folder and we moved it to the mod, we still have to save this material here. And we're still not actually done. When you remove a material over, you have to move everything that material references over to your mod. So if it references different textures or different materials, you have to have all that in your mod or it will not load correctly when you cook it. So what we're going to do is here we're going to open up the silver material to make sure we got everything that this material is using in our mod. Double click. And as you can see, opens up the material editor here. We'll get into this in a whole nother episode because this is just, like I said, a task in its own. As you can see here, when we open up the material editor to see what it's referencing, we're only looking for different textures. If it's not using a texture file, like a picture file from something else, then it's fine. If it's just using colors, that's fine. The game can register different colors perfectly fine. So you can see here it's only using the gray color and the white color, and it's using some metallic. So that's fine. The game will read that perfectly fine. We're going to save this. Alrighty. That's saved. Now that's good to go. The table's going to read the silver material from our mod. And that seems simple. Yeah, because that part pretty much is, but you're going to come across materials that are very, very in depth, and they have a lot of things tied to them, and a lot of things that they're referencing. So, and you're going to have to move all that stuff over to your mod to make sure that it's reading it properly and that it's going to load into the game properly. Otherwise, you're going to end up with that gray texture I showed you. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you, remember the little Rex we put on the table? I'm going to show you how to get the materials for that, because that's something that's going in the mod and it has materials. So again, all those materials for that Rex needs to be inside the mod. I can't make that any clearer. That's very important, or you're just going to end up with a gray structure. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to make a material called Rex, and we're going to put all the materials inside of that. Rex, and then inside of that we're going to make a material. We're going to make a folder called Materials, just to keep it organized. Alrighty. Okay. Let's go back to the table folder here. We're going to open up the dark blue strip file here, where we actually added the Rex to it. Go to Components tab. Now you see we have our Rex right here. And as you can see, when you put your mouse over the Rex after clicking it, you see down here it's being read from the Primal Earth folder. Again, we do not, if it's not in our mod, we don't want to use it. So we need to also get this static mesh into our mod as well, because it's a good chance we cook this up and then we put it in game. It's not going to read it correctly because it's not in our mod, and the Rex may not even be there. So we're going to also put the static mesh in our folder as well, and everything that it's referencing, materials, textures, everything. And this is going to be a lot more difficult than just the silver texture that we did, silver material. So first things first, we want to press the little magnifying glass here. We want to take this Rex and we want to put it inside of our Rex folder. Now you see that we have it there. And now we're actually going to replace this one so it's not reading from Primal Earth. We're going to want to replace it so it's reading from our table folder, our mod folder. Move it over, replace that. Now you can see that it's reading from our mod folder, and we're done with this file. So you can just save that. Close that. Now we need to get everything that this Rex is referencing, such as materials and textures. We need to get that into our mod. It's going to be a lot more difficult than just the silver. I'll show you here in a second. I'm going to open it up. We got our cool little Rex looking here. It's got his little red eyes and everything. Actually looks pretty sick, I must say. But anyway, we're going to get both these materials moved over to our mod here. And yeah, it just looks like simple materials, but I can assure you with all these different textures and marks and stuff on this Rex, there's a lot of things being referenced here, I can already tell. So What we're going to do here is we're going to get this first material. We're going to start work on it. Going to click the little magnifying glass to take us to this material, and we're going to drag this material over to our Rex materials folder. Copy here. Now we're going to drag this over to replace this material to make sure that it's being read from our mod. So we're going to drag it over and replace it. Now it should be being read from our mod folder. Perfect. And just to make sure, we are going to save after everything we do, just in case the dev kit decides to crash, and we don't want to lose our progress. So might as well go ahead and save this over here too. We don't need to save the test map. Alrighty. Okay. Now we got that moved over, and it's now saved there. And yeah, it seems like, you know, that's it. That's all we need to do. Actually, no. We need to go ahead and open this up and get everything that's being referenced inside of it. I can already show you here that this is a material instance. When I put my mouse over it, it says material instance right there. That just means that it's being referenced from a parent material. And so you're going to need everything from this material, the parent material, everything. We're going to go through it all right now. So I'm going to open up this material. Bam, you see it has a parent material that it's using as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to get that parent material, and we're going to go through all this stuff too down here to make sure that if there's any textures being or pictures being referenced, we're going to get all those pulled in here as well. So we're going to be going, it's going to be a lot to be done here. So first things first, we want to get all the parent materials. So we're going to go and click the magnifying glass for this parent material. Here it is. We're going to move it over to our Rex materials. Copy here. And then we're going to replace this one with the one that's in our mod folder. So it's reading from our mod folder. Perfect. Now, save that. Even though we're not done, we're going to come back to it. And now we need to open up that parent material and see what it has. And bam, it has a parent material as well. So we're going to get that material. Drag it in. Copy here. And we're going to replace it with that one. Reading from our mod. Yep, it is. Save it. And we're going to keep these tabs up here because we're going to go back through each one of these tabs and get everything from each one of these materials and drag it over to our mod. So now we see that this one also has a parent. We're going to get that one. Oh, it's right there. Wait, so confused right now. Oh, we didn't open it up. Sorry. We're going to open up that parent material, and you see that one has a parent material as well. So we're going to go get that one, move it over, let it compile shaders first. If you do not let it compile the shaders first, it's going to just act very wonky. Dev kit may crash. Your materials may not load correctly. So just let it compile shaders and let it pop up over here, as you can see. Alright, so Dino is reading from Primal Earth. We need to go ahead and drag this over. Now it's reading from our folder. Perfect. Save. Now we're going to open up Dino. And as you can see, this is the last material. There's no parent for this material. So now we need to go through and get everything that's being referenced. Any pictures. See how it says painting textures right here? Any texture, you gotta get it. So all you gotta do is click on it, scroll down over here. You see that here's the texture, and it's just empty. That's what the name of it is. So we need to go ahead and get that. It's going to take us to it right here. It's a texture file. We want to get that, drag it in. We could make a folder called textures, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to let the materials and the textures for the Rex just all be jumbled into one. That's just how I do it usually, just so I know where everything is. So we're going to drag to the materials folder here, and we are going to take this empty and we're going to drag it here and replace it so it's being read from that folder. Everything, all this type of stuff like this, all this different stuff like this and stuff like that. If you click on it and there's nothing over here like a different file that's being read, don't worry about it. All these different boxes and everything, the game will read because it's Unreal Engine and it understands its knowledge. So we only need to take things that is not an Unreal Engine. Like, looks like the only other texture here, and you can move in and out like this just by scrolling in and out with the mouse wheel. And you move around it just by right click holding and clicking right click and holding it and moving it around. If you just click right click, that'll happen. If you click and hold and move it around, it'll move around like that. So now here's the other texture we got to get from this one. And we just come down to the texture box, click the little magnifying glass, there's that texture. We got to get that. Put it in our Rex materials folder. Here it is. We need to replace it. Bam, it's now reading from our mod. Now we can save it. This file's done. This material is done. Save it. Give it a second so it can think. I believe this is the Dino file. Yeah, it is. So this one should go away with the whole little star. Alright, perfect. So that file's done. So now, just like I said, we're going to keep all these tabs open so you can know what you need to work on next. We're going to let it compile shaders first so it doesn't mess up anything. And then when we're done with the material completely, we're just going to close that box so we can move back down the line until we're back here. Alrighty, that's done. So we're done with Dino completely. Alrighty. Now we're back down to the Dino, _Dino no metallic MIC right here. This is the file we're working on now. And we've already moved the parent material over, so we don't have to worry about that. Now we need to go down in each one of these sections right here and see if there's any textures being called. Usually in light mask settings, you don't have to worry about any of that. That's basically the lighting of the material. That usually doesn't have any textures, but base color, usually a texture under there. In this case, it's just using a default texture that you don't have to worry about moving over, so don't worry about that. If it's not checked right here, or any of these aren't checked, you don't have to worry about this texture right here. It's just grayed out. Colorization, sometimes it'll have a texture under here. If it's not checked, it's not being used, so don't worry about it. Damage, nothing's checked, don't worry about it. Emissive, nothing. Normals, okay, so we got one texture in here that's being called. Anything up here with all these check marks that are just numbers, don't have to worry about them. The material will read them perfectly fine. We just have to worry about textures. So the normal, what is this called? Normal map is being called. Where is this being called from? Primal Earth. So we need to get this inside of our materials folder for the Rex. Click the little magnifying glass. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, but you have a lot you have to do in order to get it all working correctly. So if you may need some patience to do this. If Car Wash can do it, anyone can do it. She has no patience. Anyway, I'm going to take this, drag it into our materials folder here. And what are we going to do next? You got it. Going to drag it right over here and replace it. So it's being read from the mod folder. Alright, then we can move on. Occlusion, nothing. Specular, wait a minute. Nothing. SSA, nothing. Subsurface, nothing. Texture parameters, surprisingly nothing. So that material is done. We can save it and close it. Alrighty. Now for this one, we've already moved the parent over. That's why I always move the parent files over first and get those out of the way. As I said, light mask, don't have to worry about it. Base color, nothing. Colorization, colors and numbers, you don't have to worry about. We're only looking for textures again, so don't worry about that stuff. Damage, nothing. Emissive, normals, nothing. Remember, if it's not checked, you don't need that material. I mean that texture. So don't worry about it. Luckily, none of these have a lot of textures that are being used. So you will come across some materials that you want to use that just have textures in all of these, and you got to get every single one of those. I don't know if I just clicked normal like 3 times, but whatever. So yeah, you just want to go through, check all these different categories here, see if there's any textures being called. I swear I clicked normals like 5 times right now. I'm not even paying attention. Alright. SSA. Alright. I think I just did subsurface vector. Nothing. Alright. And anything down here, material overrides, don't have to worry about that. It's usually no textures down here, but it's good to check anyway. Save it. And that material's done. Luckily, there wasn't much in here that we had to do. So we can save it, close it, it's done. Now we're back to the main material instance. We moved the parent over already. Now, light mask, we don't have to worry about that. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some textures in here we got to move over. So let's see, base color, yep. We got to get this texture. Magnifying glass, move it over to our materials folder for the Rex. Bam, there it is. We're going to move it over and copy over this one so it's reading from our mod folder. Perfect. Now close that up, move down, nothing for that one. Nothing for that one. Nothing. Alright, we got a normal one here. Alpha Rex body in. Okay, we gotta get that. Materials. Sorry, that's my nephew playing his little game. And remember, it's called Alpha Rex body in. And Alpha Rex body in, we're gonna replace it. Occlusion. Let's close that first. Occlusion. Specular. Here's another material. So you're gonna have some materials that just have tons and tons of different textures you gotta move over. So be ready for that. And if we didn't move them over, this Rex will look very odd. It'd have gray things going through all it. Some parts of it would just be black because it doesn't have any texture for it. These scars would not be there. So yeah, we want to get everything. Let's go ahead and get this one. Magnifying glass. I'm probably going to use everything in here, but we're going to do it one by one to make sure everything is in there. Drag it over and replace it. Easy enough. Alright, SSA. Texture parameters, nothing. Alright. Surprisingly, we didn't have to use all these. Got them all replaced, save. Perfect. And that was just all for this first material. Now we have to get the second material. Alrighty, so we click it and it brings us over here to the other material in here. Copy over. And then what is this called? It is called Alpha Rex Head Mat. So Alpha Rex Head Mat, this is what we gotta move over. Save. Alrighty, so now both materials are being read from the mod folder. This material is all done. Everything that's referencing it is moved over to our mod folder. Now we got to get everything for this one and get all that stuff moved over to our mod folder. Alright, so it's right here. We click the magnifying glass. It should just give us that one. Yep, because it's already in our test mod folder here. I'll open it up. Actually, first, before we do anything, we do want to save, just so you want to frequently save your stuff just in case the dev kit closes. Nothing's more discouraging than doing a lot of work, then the dev kit decides to crash because of whatever reason, and then all your progress is gone. So I'm gonna save all that. Alrighty, now we open up this material here and we have a parent material, and you do want to make sure that sometimes these materials may use something you already have in your mod. So instead of going back through to get all this stuff over again, you can actually use the same material that's in your mod already. So if this is, let's see, dino underscore metallic underscore colorize underscore mic, almost 100% sure that's the same thing right here. Dino no metallic colorize mic, no metallic, yep, same thing. So just dragging this straight over here actually saves you a ton of work, because remember, we did all these different materials that tie to this one material right here already, and all the textures and everything. So you just drag that plane over there. All we have to do is get everything that's down here for this material, all these different parameter groups. So all that's done. We don't have to go through opening up these and getting all those parents again, because we did it once already. They're all tied to this material right here that's in our mod folder. So you drag it over there, it's reading from our mod folder. That is done. That's a lot of work done already. So be sure to check and make sure that you don't already have the materials in your folder, because you can save yourself a lot of work if you've already done it. Alright, so base color, we got to go ahead and get that texture, because that's not in there already. Move it over to materials. That's in our Rex materials for our mod folder. Where is it at? Here it is, Rex head. Move it over, copy it, paste it, whatever you want to call it. Drag it over to the top of it to replace it. Now it's reading from my mod folder. Perfect. Colorization, nothing. Damage, nothing. And I'll get into what all these different categories do in another time. Like I said, materials are very in-depth, and they have a whole different set of things you need to learn. So we don't want to mix it up too much. Missive, enable texture, normals. Again, we got alpha rex head in. It's alpha rex body in, skin detail in. So we don't have that one yet. We need to go ahead and get it. Here it is. Drag it over to our Rex materials folder. Copy there. Alpha Rex head in. Alpha Rex head in. Replace. Specular. Alrighty, we got red head layered. Rex head layered. Skip that one. Move it over like the others. There we go. Replace it. And luckily, that looks like it is it. We are done. Perfect. Save it. Save all your materials over here. And people, we are done. All of our materials are moved over. All of our textures are moved over. So when we load this up in game, let's just save it just to make sure. When we load this up in game, our Rex table is just going to look just like this. You can just drag this blue file over here. You don't actually have to spawn in. You can just drag it sometimes just to see it, and bam, it's good to go. I don't know what you'll actually use this for, but that's it. It's done. Alright. So yeah, I do want to thank you guys for tuning in for another dev kit tutorial. Take that information and apply that to all your mods, because no matter what you're doing, if you're making a mod, a map, a total conversion, expansion mod, whatever, if you're using materials in it, you have to have the materials inside of your mod folder. It is very important, like I said from the beginning. And everything that they reference, you have to have it all in your mod folder. So make sure you do that, and you won't have any problems. Do it the way I just showed you here. Pause it, whatever you need to do, get the steps down, and you'll be good to go. So yeah, thanks guys. Be sure to, like I said, check out our mods, the building extras mod, and all of its expansions, the Valentine Extras mod. Build you guys some cool things inside your houses. We'll be releasing some pretty cool stuff very soon. Be sure to check out the Community Crunch 36 on the forums. If you haven't already, we are featured in this issue's Community Crunch, so you can get a sneak peek at some things coming out. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it, and be sure to stay tuned for the next episode. We're gonna actually, like I said in the last episode, showing you guys how to cook and upload it. I just felt that this was needed to be shown before we did do that. So stay tuned, and you guys have a good one.